I mean, the things that are said and spoken in our parliament, the Dáil, embarrasses me. My heart is grieved by it, and I'm not the only one. There are lots of people who love and support Israel and will, it's a risky thing to go out on the streets in Dublin with an Israeli flag.
Wow.
But we've done that.
Hey folks, Yishai Fleischer here. I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Anthony about Ireland and Israel and where that anti-Semitism comes from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and support us through the links at the bottom. Let's go back to the big question about why Ireland is anti-Semitic. I want to know. All right, folks, Yishai Fleischer here. I'm in beautiful Hebron in the land of Israel, and I'm joined by Anthony, who's a real Irishman from Ireland. When I think of Ireland, I think of beautiful green pastures. I think of Guinness beer, which I used to love when I was younger, and I think of beautiful music, which I sometimes put in the background. Sadly, I also think about anti-Semitism and anti-Israelism. Anthony, before we get into the dark issues of anti-Semitism, tell me why you're here today. Why is a person like you? I thought everybody in Ireland just hates Israel.
No, that's not so, Yishai. I've had a love for Israel and the Jewish people for a long, long time. Probably when I think I was about 18 years of age, I actually saw a film on the life of Golda Meir. It fascinated me. I then had a change of life experience at 20 years of age, and I realized, started reading the Bible, realized the significance of the Jewish people and Israel to my faith. And there were a number of elderly people in the church I was attending that time in Dublin, and they had a passion to pray for Israel, for the peace of Jerusalem, and for the Jewish people.
The truth is I told a little bit of a fib. I actually know that there's tons of Irish people, because when I go live on YouTube on the live stream, tons of people from Ireland are saying, we bless you, and they also say we're embarrassed about the anti-Israelism, because the thing is that Ireland has been vociferous and loud about its anti-Israelism. So I wanted to ask you, here's a small island, which is like cool, and Irish eyes are smiling, and you think that Ireland and Israel will be best of friends. What is the root of all of this anti-Israelism that we face?
It stems, the root of it is in our history, our own story. So Irish people look at the Middle East and the situation here, and they put our historical situation onto the land of Israel.
How's that?
The situation, because they see, and it is portrayed, of course, in media, not only in Ireland but across the world, that Israel is the occupier of the Palestinian territory. Now, you and I know that's not true at all. This is the ancient homeland of the Jewish people, and for those of us in Ireland who understand that and realise that, it breaks our heart. As an Irishman, it grieves my heart deeply. And
what grieves your heart?
It grieves my heart to see the anti-Semitism, the anti-Israelism, the absolute, I'm not going to mince my words, Yishai. It's Jew hatred, and that's what it is. It's rooted in our history, as it is in a lot of Western.
So they see us as occupiers, like the British occupied Ireland.
Yeah.
And they also had a peace deal in Northern Ireland. They wish we would have a peace deal. Is that right?
Yes, indeed, they do, and they sort of, I can't understand. But there's cross-party support within the Dáil, which is our parliament, and there's cross-party support for like boycotts against Israel, for speaking out against Israel, and there's some particularly hard left-wing people in there. And Ireland has swung politically to the left in, say the last, 20 years or thereabouts. And so that swing to the left has brought out a lot of, anti-Israelism, anti-Jew hatred.
That's too bad, because Ireland is a small island state. We're a small country. Ireland is an ancient people. The Irish are an ancient people and have some very ancient sites. We have ancient sites. Our name Israel starts with I. Ireland starts with I, right? And you guys have high tech. We have high tech. You'd think that there would be an awesome bond. I think Israelis love Ireland, but sadly, there's this real sense that there's like one country that like is overtly
anti-Israel. Moreover, it doesn't seem to take in a lot of the refugees that it talks about. It talks a lot about Palestine, so-called, but it doesn't seem to actually help them other than yell at Israel all the time. So let's ask this. Is there any way to fix it? Or is there anything that we should know about Ireland that we should have a different relationship to? Or should we just write it off and say, Irish are just Catholic anti-Semites, they hate Israel, forget it. Should we say it that way, or is there hope?
No, there is hope, because there's people like me and lots of other people like me, and you mentioned Catholicism, but there are lots of people within the Catholic Church. I have a good friend who who headed up an organisation that worked with the Jewish community in Dublin. We put on demonstrations outside government buildings. We did meetings with the Jewish community and celebrations and all of that. So within the Catholic Church, within the Protestant Church, within the new churches, within people of faith, there is a lot of support for Israel, albeit that the Palestinian solidarity movement in Ireland has permeated every organisation, every from kindergarten for Palestine, farmers for Palestine, you name it, you have it. So if you go to
is that also connected with a lessening of a connection to the story of the Bible?
Well, yes, indeed, to a certain extent. But I mean, we could go back to the end of World War II, when the then Taoiseach, or Prime Minister at the time, Eamon de Valera, on the death of Hitler, quickly sent one of his representatives down to the German embassy with a message of condolences, and that, for us, is one of those shocking parts of our history. So, as I say, then there's this perception within political parties. I mean, the things that are said and spoken in our parliament, the Dáil, embarrasses me. It's sickening to listen to, because it is a one-sided narrative.
That's right.
Totally one-sided narrative.
It's not biblical. It's not really based in Scripture and the roots of our faith.
Yeah.
But also, it's really not true about the underdog thing either.
No.
The Palestinian narrative is part of the broader jihadism and anti-Israelism. Israel's the underdog in this world.
Yes.
Where's the love for the underdog, the real underdog in this world?
As an Irishman, I'm ashamed. My heart is grieved by it, and I'm not the only one. There are lots of people.
That's right.
Who love and support Israel, and will, it's a risky thing to go out on the streets in Dublin with an Israeli flag.
Wow.
But we've done that. We knew Ireland was going to recognise Palestine. We got 1,000 people together, and we marched to our parliament 2 days before that. We had the chief rabbi with us.
The vast majority of Irish community have strong affinity with the state of Israel. That we support Israel in taking the steps it needs to take to defend itself and to eliminate the threat of Hamas.
The then ambassador, the wonderful Dana Ehrlich, who was recalled, and Israel has closed their embassy in Dublin, and I don't blame them.
Wow.
Because it was just shocking, the things that were said, and the demonstrations, and the blatant. Like, we had Hezbollah flags, we had Hamas flags,
right,
on the marches in Dublin.
We're not just talking about two-state solution. We're talking about the people that call to destroy Israel and do barbarous attacks against us.
Absolutely shocking.
Support for that. Yeah. It is shocking. And again, I would have not thought that the Irish personality is like that. Not that I know too much about Ireland, but I just my sense was is that really the Irish personality? You think it's kind of hospitality and love and a kind of no. And there's a really
But when you have the government and all the government parties and the media in the one bag with the one narrative, then it's very the narrative is steered. As you know, it's very easy. Wasn't it the Nazis themselves that said, "Tell a lie often enough, and in the end, people will believe it"?
That's right.
And that's what has permeated Irish society, along with our historical story. and we have what we have. Ireland seeks to, be the leader in the EU with this anti-Israel stance, because when apartheid Africa was up and running in the 70s and the 80s, Ireland, and rightly so, led a campaign, and to the best of my knowledge, was the first country to ban goods from South Africa within the EU.
Right. So they've bought into the Israel apartheid narrative, and they see themselves as a kind of moral beacon.
Absolutely.
And they see themselves as a spearhead
Yeah.
against immorality, and Israel is within that framework.
Yes.
That's very sad. That's very sad. And Israel's got to fight that narrative. Anthony, I want to tell you that you give me a lot of hope for the world and for humanity and even for Ireland. I hope that you yourself, so well spoken, with such clarity, will have political office or influential office in that small island country that is very loud. And maybe it could be loud for good. For now, Israel has indeed pulled its ambassador, and we really do face a lot of anti-Semitism from Ireland. But people like yourself give me a lot of hope in humanity and in Ireland. I hope to visit one day.
Oh, do.
But I don't know if it's in the near future.
Well, we'd say come, Yishai. You'd be more than welcome. We'd be delighted to see you there and delighted to have you speak. Absolutely. Because as you've said yourself, there are lots of people in Ireland who tune into your podcast.
All right, folks, thank you very much. Thank you, Anthony, for coming to Hebron, not only to Israel, but to Hebron and to beautify Hebron. Together, we're beautifying this land, and we've got a partnership around the world of people who see things clearly, with common sense, with a love of God, a love of Israel, and a recognition that Israel is just and right. It's the underdog, and it's also the light of God in this world that could bring a lot of joy and peace and love to this world if we support it. Supporting today's Nazis, that does not bring peace to the world. God bless you, Anthony. Thanks again.
God bless you, Yishai. Pleasure to be here.
Shalom.